Hello everyone. Today we will talk about atomic model proposed by Rutherford and with some limitations of this model which are then countered by the Bohr's model. So to begin with, we will talk about Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment, which you may have already discussed in your other subjects like chemistry. Okay, so in Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment, what he did to understand the structure of a atom, which is called as atomic model proposed by the Rutherford, he arranged a setup like this. In a cavity of lead, there is a radioactive substance placed just like this, bismuth 214 or radon, which is able to emit the alpha particles continuously, right? So what are alpha particles? We will have a look at it. Then this stream of alpha particles, it is allowed to come out of this cavity and get incident on this thin gold foil. This is a thin foil of gold which is placed in the path of these alpha particles, and on interaction with this gold foil, the alpha particles get scattered along different, we can say, angles, so which are recorded or we can say detected with a zinc sulfide screen, right? So in place of this screen, we can also have a detector of zinc sulfide screen which can rotate in all over the directions, right, around this thin foil in order to receive the all the alpha particles emitted out or we can say scattered or deflected by this thin gold foil from all directions. So what are alpha particles? These are the nucleus of helium atom carrying the charge of twice the charge on the electron and mass equal to 4 times the mass of the hydrogen atom. It travels with the speed nearly equal to 10 to the power 4 meter per second and is highly penetrating, right? Okay, so now we can proceed what has happened in this experiment and what conclusion has been drawn by the Rutherford about atomic structure. We can look at the Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment in this way, where some radioactive source is placed in some lead shield so that any leakage of radiation can be avoided. Only the fine beam of alpha particle is allowed to fall on a thin gold foil. Here it is the gold foil. It is allowed to fall on this gold foil, which is very thin, of atomic size nearly. So the screen, fluorescent screen, which detects the these scattered or we can say deflected alpha particles from the gold foil all over the directions, right? So from here we can understand what Rutherford has observed and recorded here in order to come to the conclusion of some atomic model. What has been observed? That the most of the alpha particles passed straight through the gold foil. That means the conclusion which can be drawn from this happening or this observation is that most of the space of an atom is empty, because alpha particle, they do not face any interaction. So that means most of the uh, space of an atom of the gold foil, it was empty, right? We can have the same look here. Most of the alpha particle either face no deflection or we can say no scattering or very small scattering. So that means most of the space inside an gold atom, it was empty, right? Second, some of the alpha particles were scattered by only small angles of the order of few degrees. Some of the alpha particles suffered some deflection due to interaction with this atom of the gold. So alpha particle, which are positively charged particle having twice the charge on the electron, and they are very heavy compared to the electrons, could only be deflected by heavy and positive, right, region in an atom. So it indicates that positive charges and most of the mass of the atom are concentrated in very small central region called as nucleus. Another thing is that has been observed, it is that very few number of alpha particles, about 1 in 9,000. So few number of alpha particles were deflected through large angles, even greater than 90 degree, and some of them even just retrace their own path. That means they are deflected back along their own path from which they have approaching. So for them the angle of deflection was 180 degree. So that means alpha particle which travels toward the nucleus directly, or we can say atom directly, they get retarded due to the Coulomb force of repulsion and ultimately comes to rest, then fly off in opposite direction. So these are few observations that has been made and some conclusion which has been drawn based on the Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. So based on these observations and conclusion, the Rutherford proposed this model of the atom, that how atom appears or how atom is. The very first thing which Rutherford said about atomic model, it is that the positively charged particles and most of the mass of the atom, it was concentrated in an extremely small volume inside that atom, and it lies at the very central core of that atom. And this region of very small volume, it which lies at the center of the very central region of the atom, it is given the name nucleus. So this was the first thing that has been proposed by Rutherford towards atomic model based on his alpha scattering experiment. Second thing, the Rutherford model proposed that the negatively charged electrons keeps on revolving around this positively charged nucleus, right? And these electrons keeps on revolving with very high speeds in circular paths. Rutherford gave these circular paths the name as orbits. He said that electron can take any circular orbit in which it can have very high, it can revolve around the nucleus in very high speed. So this was the second thing which Rutherford proposed. Third, the electrons being negatively charged and nucleus being densely concentrated, mass of the positively charged particle are held together by the strong forces of electrostatic attraction, right? Because electrons are negatively charged and nucleus, which is a very dense and concentrated mass of positive charged particle, means there are two kinds of charges in an atom, negatively charged electron and positively charged nucleus. They are held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction. And the last thing which Rutherford atomic model says, it says that atom as a whole is electrically neutral. That means the number of, or we can say the amount of positive charge in an atom, it is equal to the amount of negative charge in an atom. That means an atom has equal amount of positive and negative charges. This positive charge of an atom, it is carried by the nucleus, and the negative charge of the atom, it is carried by the electrons, which keep on revolving around the nucleus in the circular orbits. So this was Rutherford's atomic model based on his experiment of alpha scattering experiment. During this alpha scattering experiment, he also observed and made some very important notice of these two things. The very first thing, it is distance of closest approach. This parameter or this term which has been studied in this alpha scattering experiment has given a chance to measure or to estimate the size of the nucleus. So what is the distance of closest approach? The alpha particles which straight away move towards the nucleus for head-on collision, these positively charged alpha particles are repelled by the positive charged nucleus of the gold. Now due to this repulsion force of the positively charged nucleus, the motion of the alpha particle, it is opposed. So it keeps on slowing down, right? And a time comes is at a certain distance, the motion of the alpha particle just stops, right? And from there, due to the repulsive forces, the alpha particles are just sent back along their own path, original direction. So this is the minimum distance, or we can say closest distance up to which the alpha particle can go towards the nucleus. So this distance, closest distance up to which the alpha particle can go towards the nucleus, is called as the distance of closest approach. Knowing the value of this closest approach, Rutherford has made an attempt to measure the size of the nucleus, means the radius of the nucleus. At this point, what has happened? All the kinetic energy of the alpha particle, now it is completely converted to the electric potential energy. With this potential energy, it is made to go back along the same path from which it was coming earlier. That means the kinetic energy of the approaching alpha particle, it is equal to the potential energy, electrostatic potential energy of the system now, right? So which is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into twice Z E square upon R naught, where R naught is the distance, which is the closest distance between the alpha particle, which is positively charged, carrying the charge 2e, the twice of the charge on electron, and the positively charged nucleus, which may have the number of positive charges to be Z into E. E is the charge on one electron and Z is the number of electrons present in the atom. So due to this interaction, the electrostatic potential energy comes into action, and both the kinetic energy of alpha particle and electric potential energy are equal, because at this distance of closest approach, the motion of the alpha particle just stops. So therefore from here we can calculate the R naught, the we can say distance of closest approach or the nuclear size, which comes out to be R naught is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into twice of Z E square upon half m u square. So by knowing the distance of closest approach of the alpha particle in alpha scattering experiment, the size of the nucleus has been estimated. Another important term here is the impact parameter. So what is impact parameter? It is the perpendicular distance. That means the perpendicular distance at which the alpha particle is moving away from the line of action of the collision, right? So that means it is the perpendicular distance of the velocity vector of the alpha particle from the center of the nucleus when it is far away from the nucleus, right? So this is called as impact parameter. It also gives the information about how close from this nucleus the alpha particle will pass, right? So it is given by B. So this is the perpendicular distance called as impact parameter. It is given by B is equal to Z E square cot theta by 2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught times half m u square. So about this impact parameter, it has been known that very first thing it is that for large value of B, means impact parameter, if impact parameter is large, that means the alpha particle will be passing at a farther distance from the nucleus. Cot theta by 2, it will be large enough, and theta means the angle of scattering is very small, because cot theta by 2 it will be large, which is possible when theta will be small. So that means whenever alpha particle pass at a larger distance from the nucleus, in that case the scattering suffered by these alpha particle will be very, very small. Second thing that has been observed, if the value of this impact parameter is small, very small, then this cot theta by 2 it will be small, which is possible whenever angle of scattering is large. So what it makes us understand, that is alpha particle traveling close to the nucleus, they suffer large deflection, they get deflected by the large angles. And the third thing, if B is 0, that is the alpha particles are approaching straight away the nucleus. They are headed directly towards the center of the nucleus. In that case, cot theta by 2, it will be 0, which is possible whenever theta will be equal to 180 degree. That means the alpha particles in this situation, they will be just sent back along their own directions. Many attempts has been made by the other scientists, just like Dalton's model, plum pudding model, just like that, but none of them was close to the actual structure of the nucleus. So Rutherford's atomic model, or we can say Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment, was the very first most accurate approach towards the accurate picture of the atomic model. So this was the most close picture of the atomic model. But still there are some limitations, or we can say shortcomings, which appear in the Rutherford's atomic model. We will have a look at it. What are these limitations? The very first limitation, it says that because according to Rutherford's atomic model, negatively charged electron revolve around positively charged nucleus in any circular orbit. So the problem is that we know that when charged body move in circular motion, they keep on emitting radiation, and because electrons can take any orbit, so they will continuously be accelerated towards the nucleus, which eventually should fall in the nucleus, because they are accelerated continuously towards the nucleus, so they will eventually should fall in the nucleus and hence make the nucleus unstable. But that is not what is happening. The nuclei are found to be very stable. So that means electrons should not be having any circular motion, or we can say having the circular motion in any orbit, or in all possible orbits. There must be some different view there. So this is one limitation. Second limitation or shortcoming of the Rutherford's atomic model is that according to Rutherford's atomic model, the electron revolve around the nucleus in any orbit. So it is the same limitation, however. So that means the electron should emit the energy continuously. However, the atoms like hydrogen, what is observed in the atoms like hydrogen, that they have discrete energy spectrum. In a hydrogen atom, the electron emit the energy of discrete or we can say emit the radiations of discrete energies, frequency and wavelengths. The radiations emitted are not of continuous energy, right? So these were the two limitations which appeared in Rutherford's atomic model. Then came Bohr, which countered for these shortcomings of the, or we can say limitations of the Rutherford atomic model. He supported or kept the basic understanding of the atomic model same as proposed by Rutherford, that the atom as a whole is very empty, and there is very large amount of the space of an atom which is empty, and the positive charge of this atom is concentrated at very central region of the atom called as the nucleus, and electron have the we can say motion around this positive charge nucleus. Up to this, everything is correct according to Rutherford and according to Bohr. But after that, Bohr has made some corrections, that these negatively charged electrons revolve in the circular orbits around the heavy positive charged nucleus, and this centripetal force comes from the electrostatic attractive force between the nucleus and the electron. So this has been retained as proposed by the Rutherford. So what has been changed or corrected? It is that electron cannot have any orbit. The electron can revolve around the nucleus only in specific orbits, only in those orbits in which the angular momentum of the electron, it will be integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, where h is the Planck's constant, right? So that means the angular, if an electron is revolving around the nucleus in any orbit, so it can have that orbit if its angular momentum L, which is given by mvr, which will be given by n times h upon 2 pi, where n is nothing but the integer number, integral. This is the principal quantum number. So the electron cannot take any orbit as said by the Rutherford model, but it can take only those specific orbits in which the angular momentum possessed by the electron, it will be n times h upon 2 pi, where n is the principal quantum number, it is an integer number, and h is the Planck's constant. So only in those orbits the electron can, we can say, revolve around the nucleus. There is no other possible orbit for the nucleus, electrons to have. Okay. The third thing, this was the most major correction that has been proposed by Bohr's atomic model. The third thing Bohr added, it is that energy is radiated when electron jumps from orbit or level of higher energy to the orbit of low energy, right? So the energy is radiated means emitted out, released by the electron when it jumps from an energy of higher energy orbit to low energy orbit. And this energy released by electron, it will be equal to the difference of the two energy levels. The final energy level, energy of the final orbit minus energy of the initial orbit. Initial orbit is the one from which the electron is jumping, and final energy level is the one in which the electron is jumping. So therefore the energy of the radiated beam or radiation which is emitted out, it is h nu, given by the difference of the energies of the two energy levels. So this was the correction that has been made by Bohr regarding the atomic model proposed by Rutherford. So based on his understanding or theory of atomic model, Bohr has successfully explained the structure of hydrogen atom and the radiations of the discrete energy which are emitted out from the hydrogen atom. This we will understand in the next class. Thank you.